I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
Trump's running mate, JD Vance, wasn't always a MAGA advocate. Back in 2016, Vance was an outspoken critic of then-candidate Trump.
There is definitely an element of Donald Trump's support that has its basis in racism or xenophobia. I know who I'm going to vote for. I'm definitely not going to vote for Trump because I think that he's projecting very complex problems onto simple villains.
But Vance predicted a Trump loss.
But I've noticed this willingness from people who think a lot like I do that, look, we told you so. To all these white working class voters, we told you so. We told you that Trump was going to be a terrible candidate. We told you that you were an idiot if you voted for him.
And in now deleted tweets, JD Vance called Trump reprehensible. Fellow Christians, everyone is watching us when we apologize for this man. Lord help us, Vance wrote. Privately, Vance was even more critical, messaging a friend that Trump could be, quote, America's Hitler. But fast forward a few years later, when Vance ran for Senate in Ohio as a Republican. That's when he unveiled a new persona, Trump defender.
Are we having a good time? Is it great to have the president back in Ohio?
I did change my mind about Donald Trump. He was a great president. He's been the greatest president of my lifetime.
I have absolutely got to thank the 45th, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, they wanted to write a story that this campaign would be the death of Donald Trump's America First agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, it ain't the death of the America First agenda.
Vance's MAGA pivot resulted in him winning a seat in the Senate.
And we won big.
And now a place alongside Donald Trump on the 2024 Republican ticket.
This is CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta, and we're joining you live from the CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio. Even 40 days after the 2024 Lok Sabha results, the constitution debate refuses to die down in response to criticism from the opposition perhaps, which claims that the BJP is still attempting to weaken and change the constitution. The centre is introducing a special website called Hamara Samvidhaan, Hamara Samman in an effort to educate people about their legal rights. The portal is launched also to mark the 75th anniversary of India's Republic and the adoption of the Constitution. The government, with the help of High Court advocates, law universities, etc., aims to educate people on Samvidhaan and the legal rights enshrined in it. Now, Congress has claimed this is BJP's bid to do damage control after their quote-unquote plot to change the Constitution was exposed by Rahul Gandhi. Both sides are claiming to be flag bearers of the Constitution. But the big question we ask is this entire debate surrounding the Constitution real or superficial? Does anyone really care about the Constitution unless it is to rake up passions and platitudes? We'll take that question to our guests in just a bit. First up, let's tell you a little bit about this portal and what the government says it aims to do with it. With Hamara Samvidhaan, Hamara Samman portal, the government aims to enhance citizen participation. The government says the portal will serve as a repository of knowledge. The citizen will have easy access to information they want around the Constitution. The government aims to spread awareness about citizens' legal rights in a simplified manner. But also sub-campaigns of this initiative, which include Sabko Nyay, Har Ghar Nyay, Nav Bharat, Nav Sankalp and Vidhi Jagriti Abhiyan will also all encompass this portal. But this is not the first move launched by the government. In fact, just since the election results gone by, BJP has also been seen on the offensive to counter the India bloc's constitution narrative. So, of course, this portal is being launched, Hamara Samvidhaan, Hamara Samman. This is an entire campaign that is going to ring through the 75th year of the Constitution adoption, marking June 25 as Samvidhaan Hatya Diwas. That was also just announced after the last parliamentary inaugural session. And of course, the emergency was discussed and mentioned not just by those on the chair, but even by the Treasury benches during the inaugural Parliament session after the Lok Sabha results. Now, usually electoral rhetoric dies down after results, but this time the constitution war is not ending. That's because elections are not a 3-month affair in India. There are some elections still coming up in Maharashtra and soon in Uttar Pradesh, for example. So therefore, both sides are battling it out with lots at stake still. With the elections in mind, these state elections in mind, the opposition feels that it will help it to continue to build on the constitution in danger narrative because it helped it gain Lok Sabha seats. On the other hand, the BJP has realized that the statement of 400 seats to change the constitution perhaps backfired in the general elections, and this issue has the potential to cause further damage. For the opposition, this narrative helped attract votes from other backward castes, Dalits and Muslims. On the other hand, for the BJP, the tally in reserved constituencies reduced from 77 in 2019 to 55 in 2024. The Samvidhaan debate gives opposition thus an opportunity to continue to put the BJP on the back foot in individual state battles as well, while for the BJP, this is also a chance to remind some of the younger generations of the actual emergency and the actual constitution being in danger in 1975, which is what they've been attempting to do. But as I said, the question that we ask is simply this: in this entire debate and focus on the Samvidhaan, is this really on the surface alone, superficial, or are we really going into the deep discussions around the constitution that need to be had? That's coming up in just a bit with our guests.
जय संविधान।
ये तो संविधान में विश्वास नहीं करते, संविधान विरोधी हैं, क्योंकि अब दबाव में इसलिए ऐसे पोर्टल आए।
अगर भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार आती है तो संविधान खत्म कर दिया जाएगा, लोकतंत्र समाप्त हो जाएगा और नरेंद्र मोदी जी के खिलाफ जो इन्होंने हिंसा को भड़काने का काम किया, यही कांग्रेस की स्ट्रैटेजी रही है। कांग्रेस से और कांग्रेस के इकोसिस्टम से इसका जवाब मांगा जाना चाहिए।
Let's go across to our guests joining us. Tom Varakan from the BJP, Pushparaj Deshpande from the Congress Party joining us. Suman Siraman, author and political analyst, also senior journalist and columnist Arun Anand joining us. The Congress has objected to this portal that has been launched. They have obviously objected to June 25 being commemorated as Samvidhaan Hatya Diwas. Mr. Deshpande, I'm coming to you first up. Why this unease for the Congress Party if the government is actually putting more focus on the constitution?
Hi Shivani ji, thank you for having me on your show. I, for one, personally am always glad whenever the BJP talks about the constitution, even if it's purely lip service. To me, it proves that the constitutionalism or constitutional culture is India's dominant political culture, not majoritarianism or authoritarianism. In that spirit, it's good that the BJP has relaunched the Hamara Samvidhan portal 5 months after it was originally launched. If you remember, the Vice President of India had launched it on January 2024. They have had to relaunch it, as you rightly pointed out, after the Indian public's legitimate fears that it may amend the constitution, removing secularism, socialism, and of course the reservations. Now, I would take this campaign with a generous pinch of salt, and that is where our crux of the problem is. I would be sanguine only if the BJP government went beyond the symbolic and the performative and genuinely addressed the substantive, which means cultivating a constitutional consciousness and following the constitution in letter and spirit. I mean, in the interest of time, I know you have a very short window, so I want to just flag 3 small examples. Firstly, if the government was truly committed to fraternity or freedom of religion or of choice, its leaders wouldn't be fomenting enmity between communities by suggesting that one community will steal Mangal Sutras and family assets and then vilifying them as termites. And there are 668 such cases.
Your DMK alliance partner called Sanatan Dharm as mosquitoes, by the way.
Fair enough. And they paid the price for that. My point is that this is a question about
You
the
didn't
BJP.
stand up, is what my point is. So this goes both ways.
If I may finish my point here, nor would they tolerate attack on religious structures as has happened in Kolhapur yesterday. They've been demolishing masjids here. Secondly, the government would also adhere to federalism and not misuse governors to topple elected governments like they did in Goa and Manipur in 2017, Maharashtra in 2019, Karnataka in 2018, and so on and so forth. Nor would they adhere to Article 3 of their own party constitution, which proclaims complete adherence to Deen Dayal Upadhyay's integral humanism. I have read that integral humanism in and out. It says that Indian federalism needs to be replaced by a unitary state and that secularism, quote unquote, is an attack on India's soul. And thirdly, last point, the BJP government is today financially starving state governments from implementing their welfare policy, which directly impacts all of us. Your question that does it impact us? The centre now devolves only 32% of the 38 lakh crore tax revenues, which violates the 15th Finance Commission's mandate. They've reduced their share in central sponsored schemes, and they have not extended GST compensation. The sum and substance is that if states have to implement any welfare agenda for us, we the people, anything to do with roti, kapda, makan or sadak, bijli, pani, they have no choice but to raise debt. So how do you really talk about constitutionalism and constitution values when you yourself do not adhere to it in letter and spirit?
Okay.
And I know that
interesting you mentioned about the state debt issue, because actually the accusation that many state governments are facing, and I don't want to make it partisan, is that they promise so much that they actually don't have the funds to fulfill those promises, and then they go running to the centre as if it's the centre's responsibility to give them funds to do so in the name of socialism or welfareism. There's a limit to even socialism and welfareism in a developing country, but it seems we've forgotten those limits. But I'll leave that aside. I want to go across to Tom Varakan of the BJP to respond that the BJP is also nervous about the fact that this whole constitution narrative continues to hurt it. It resonated with the public, and that is why it's also seeming to kind of, make too much of a show and tell tamasha of sorts of the constitution and how much it reveres it.
Shivani, I want to make a point. We all have read the constitution, I believe. Everybody in the panel is fully familiar. But I have been on panels, discussions on national television with not a columnist, subject specialist, leaning to the Congress party. And he openly says, well, if the BJP was so worried about the emergency, they would have removed the sections connected with it. But the fact of the matter is, it was removed. Internal emergency was removed. So much of knowledge is spread across the, that kind of people. So I would like to make a position that this portal is very important. It reaches out to the people of India to know how many times the constitution has been amended. 168 times. No, sorry, 158 times it's been amended. And you had 356. How many times? That is also extraordinary. 134 times President's rule was enacted. People of India need to know that. A lot of students take science, engineering, and variety of other subjects. It's important for them too to understand the constitution, how it stands. And I would go a step further, and I would suggest the UGC recommends the study of the constitution as part of the syllabi, so that there is this reach. By holding the constitution in parliament and swearing by the constitution, and the same hands tearing an ordinance, part of the constitution of his own government. These are the people who talk about protecting constitution.
Yeah, but that whole ordinance thing happened a while ago. I don't think it helps the BJP to keep reminding us about it, because the BJP has been in power for 10 years since and has been elected for another 5 years.
We haven't touched the constitution. Let me get that correct. 10 years we did not touch the constitution. Whereas if you go into the numbers, each of the Nehru family has amended the constitution. Even Rajiv Gandhi 31 times, Rajiv Gandhi 11 times, Indira Gandhi 31 times, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru 17 times. Baba Sahib Ambedkar must be rolling in his grave, thinking of what they have done to this Constitution of India. They talk about, just now there was a person who spoke from the Congress about funding of their guarantees. They go and collect vote on the basis of guarantee, cannot fund the project. You have a situation unique in Karnataka. And they say, why is the center not providing funds?
No, okay.
You promise the people. I mean, these are things that need to come to public domain.
Yeah,
and
no.
that
I
is
don't
why
want.
we
I
need
don't
a
want this
focus.
to become about federalism per se, and especially when it comes to finances, because that's a whole different subject. I want to really delve into whether we are talking about the Constitution with an open mind, or are we playing to the gallery and playing to fears? I mean, look at what the election campaign was, and I find it interesting, Suman C. Raman, that Congress even today feels, you know, a month or so after the election results, that harping on the fact that the BJP has ill intentions to change the Constitution in a manner that takes away something from one section of the public, despite the fact that they also tom-tom the fact that the BJP did not even reach 272 on its own. Do you think this is still a worthy narrative, or do you think they're beating a dead horse now?
No, I think that it's a worthy narrative simply because it has resonated on the ground during the elections. In fact, one of the things that is believed to have shaped the verdict in Uttar Pradesh was also the fact that, there were certain communities who felt that if the constitution was amended, they would lose the benefits of reservation and so on. So I think that this narrative has worked for the Congress party.
But will it work again for state elections, given that the results show that if the BJP wanted that kind of brute majority, it doesn't have it anymore? So what is the fear about now?
So it doesn't have a brute majority. It doesn't have a majority in the Rajya Sabha also. So I think that the days where they could ride roughshod on the opposition, and those days, at least for the moment, are gone. Now, the point really is that the opposition today, the next big elections coming up are in Maharashtra and Haryana. In both the places, the opposition is having an advantage. Maharashtra certainly they have a huge advantage at the moment. There's a huge amount of anti-incumbency also. And there's a lot of sympathy for Mr. Uddhav Thackeray and so on. So there is a tremendous amount of support that the opposition India Alliance is getting in both states. And in Haryana, there is the farmers' agitation. We saw that during the general elections where some BJP candidates were not allowed into some villages in Haryana to campaign. So I think that both those states are at the moment looking like very weak wickets for the BJP. Well, there's still 3 months' time. Anything can happen. 2 months, 2.5 months. But
and you think this constitution issue will continue to help the opposition in these states?
The constitution issue will continue to be there. I don't see this replacing local issues in Maharashtra, the issue of Uddhav Thackeray having been treated the manner in which he has been treated, or Sharad Pawar being treated in the manner in which he has been treated. His party has been split down the middle. And all of that will be the fundamental issues. And in Haryana, it will be the farmers' issues. But the point is, the India Alliance believes that the issue of threat to the constitution has struck a chord among the public, and it will be there as part of the campaign issues that they raise.
Not the main post the general elections as well. Okay, Arun Anand, very quickly, what do you think? Do you think this is the right strategy for the opposition? Before I get to my main question about what would be a worthy debate on the constitution, your thoughts on whether this will continue to reap benefits, or is there diminishing returns now?
I think this issue will continue to, because now the BJP is not going to let this issue die down. They have launched a counter-offensive on this thing. They have also launched a counter-offensive because politically, if you look at the situation, many of the India Alliance partners, so they have come out of the emergency movement. Their leaders were jailed there, whether it was Lalu Yadav, whether it was Mulayam Singh Yadav. Mulayam Singh Yadav is of course not there. Akhilesh Yadav is there, because if you look at the footage of the parliament session, the day this resolution to condemn emergency was brought, and when BJP brought this issue to the center stage, so while Rahul Gandhi was up in, Rahul Gandhi had stood up and the Congress was protesting that, Akhilesh Yadav was sitting there. So this is a fault line. This emergency thing is a fault line which BJP would like to widen within the India alliance. Having said that, I just want to clarify one more thing. I have written extensively on integral humanism. So Deshpande ji had made a comment that Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay talked about authoritarianism in this thing. I'm sorry, that is not the correct position. I think he can go back, and if I may ask, do you know when were the 4 lectures delivered? When were the 4 lectures delivered? When this integral humanism thing, I cannot see on the screen what you are showing. In quote from that, I don't adhere to that, and I don't think that thing was said. And one more thing, Congress, I think, doesn't have the moral right to talk about constitutionalism, because the first amendment in the Constitution was brought by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and you know why it was brought? It was brought because Supreme Court had struck down a decision of the government of the day, that is Nehru's government, to impose censorship on 2 weeklies, and these 2 weeklies, one of them belonged to the right, one of them belonged to the left, and Nehru did not had an elected government. Congress imposed Article 356, it used 90 times. And what does Mr. Deshpande has to say about when Supreme Court gave a decision in favor of a octogenarian woman to give, alimony. And Rajiv Gandhi turned it down. Do you agree with that?
You know, I in fact have been debating a recent judgment of the Supreme Court, which also gave another Muslim woman the right to invoke Section 125 and demand alimony beyond the period as prescribed in the Muslim personal law. And the AIM-PLB is wanting to challenge that because they feel it's against Sharia. And I don't see the Congress or the ecosystem that's talking about protecting the Constitution rising up or even saying a word against the AIM-PLB if they really did care about the sanctity of the Constitution. So you cannot play it both ways. But Arun Anand, before I open this up to everybody else, I did want to ask, look at the debate that we're having on the Constitution. Are we being, as we are, politically correct, politically safe? The issue of reservation possibly resonated during the elections. But what would be an intelligent debate on reservation? It would also be to tell the public that, look, they were supposed to be time-bound. They were never supposed to be eternal. But we don't want to touch those issues because we're so nervous politically, all parties, of actually having a worthy debate on the Constitution.
See, I think, reservation, anything which becomes, a political tool. So unfortunately, what happens that the issue goes in the background and, the cacophony takes over. So now the similar thing has happened with reservation also. In fact, if you would look at, I think to answer your question straightforward, I think the intelligent way to look at would be that how much of the benefit is really going to the people who need it, whether we have been able to handle the creamy layer properly, and also the decision to continue with the reservation has to be left to those people who have suffered, and they have to take a final call on it when they feel, that, okay, we are done with it. I think those who are not, who are not scheduled caste or scheduled tribes, I think they should not be taking that decision. But we need to ensure, it does not become a vicious cycle. Of course, you cannot put a deadline to it, but I think that's the key thing, that whether benefits are reaching, and I think we also need to have a relook at, the issues like by whether reservation and also issues like caste census. Are they strengthening the caste identities? Or are they actually diluting the caste identities?
Yes. Are they exaggerating the caste fault lines? Those are the discussions we should then also have very honestly. Mr. Deshpande, I'm coming back to you, and that question goes to the Congress party as well. What is the superficial debate that the Congress is doing on the Constitution? I mean, the Constitution did not provide for endless reservations. What was Rahul Gandhi's main agenda during these elections? Jitni abadi utna haq. Now, the Constitution doesn't talk about us being a majoritarian society in that respect. So, what Constitution is he debating?
Shivani ji, 2-3 things I want to clarify before I quickly respond to your question. One is that I do know when Deendayal Upadhyay made those post speeches. It was between April 22 and 25 in Bombay. It was when he turned 50. 2 years before he became Jansangh president. And I have the quotation here verbatim. I never said unitarian or authoritarian state. I said unitary state. That is what he said. That's the first thing, in replacing union of states. That's the first thing. The second thing.
It's okay. We don't need to be so.
And the second thing is,
one second. I'm not understanding where you're going with that, because somebody outlining an idea that you don't agree with, it's not a problem.
The BJP says that our constitution, our party completely adheres to the philosophy of integral humanism.
Okay.
He is saying something that violates the constitutional principles of federalism and secularism.
It's okay. We can have radical ideas in a society. That is a sign.
Not in a mainstream political party.
No, it's okay. We don't have to be childish about it. It's okay to have radical ideas and discuss them. There is nothing taboo. When it comes to ideas, nothing should be taboo.
This is a fundamental idea.
Yeah, so nothing should be taboo to discuss, is what I'm saying. Don't demean ideas itself, discuss them.
I'm not demeaning ideas. I'm asking the BJP to be held accountable because they are saying when they are claiming to be adhering to the constitution, here there is something that violates that adherence. That's the first thing. The second thing, something which you said, 10 years is not something that we did not say that reservations will be denied, will be limited for 10 years. Political reservations will be limited for 10 years. I've read the Constituent Assembly debates. I don't think any political party right now will want to remove the cap on political reservations for any period of time. That's the first thing. As far as your larger question is that whether
you didn't answer my question on Rahul Gandhi's campaign. Jitni abadi utna haq. Does that not make us a majoritarian country? Is that envisaged in the spirit of the constitution?
If you read the Constituent Assembly debates, what it says is that caste-based reservations need to be adhered to because of historical prejudices and historical.
But not on the basis of population strength.
Caste-based reservations is a fact of the constitution. I'm sorry.
Not on the basis of the population strength.
SC and ST reservations is based on that. What he is arguing is for extending the same logic for OBCs. It is already there for SCs and Dalits and Adivasis. What he's arguing is extending the same logic for OBCs. The 27% cap for OBCs is artificial. What he argued is, let us do a census, let us figure out what it is,
and then you want a society where everything is reserved according to the percentage of the society of population.
That is what the Congress party stand is. That is what the India bloc stand is. Now, it is for
the people, but that's not what our constitution stand is. It's very convenient for the No, it isn't.
The constitution stand.
In fact, you mentioned the constituent debates. One second, Pushparaj, 1 second. It's very convenient. I feel that certain sections refer to the constitution very conveniently when it suits them, and then forget other sections of it. Constituent Assembly debates are similar matter. In Constituent Assembly debates, it has also come to light that the term secular was discussed and deliberately not put in the preamble or anywhere in the constitution, yet Indira Gandhi forced it into the preamble. So please, if you're going to stick to the spirit of the constituent debates, then please stick in totality.
After that, it was upheld as the basic structure doctrine. In the basic
structure doctrine evolved over a period of time through Supreme Court judgments. Now, don't take Dab under Supreme Court judgments. No, I'm sorry. It was later upheld is hardly the point. The point is it was discussed during the constituent debate and it was deliberately not added. Because it was decided by the likes of Baba Ambedkar that the country will decide and its public will decide what kind of a state it wants to be. But it was imposed.
It's supposed to be a dynamic document, Shivani ji.
Yeah, of course it's supposed to be. Then don't raise hue and cry if others change it. If you think you have the right to change it, then don't raise a hue and cry if others change it.
Of course not. I am saying that there is a basic structure doctrine. Don't touch that.
That basic structure doctrine has evolved over a period of time, very recent, and it has evolved through Supreme Court judgments.
Continue to be part of the basic structure doctrine. I don't think any party can change it or should change it. And if the BJP is publicly saying that we want to change it, let Tom
That's not the point. The point is you did something which was against the spirit of the Constituent Assembly debates.
I'm sorry, no. But
of
we did
course,
it
you're not
according
going to accept
constitutionalism.
it.
The constitution.
It was also done
we
during
adhered to the
emergency
constitution.
and not
And mind the way,
via the
emergency,
proper
I want to
procedure
respond to
in
this emergency point.
parliament.
Shivani, give one
So
second,
you
one
can't
second.
run away from that either.
No,
My
I want to
point
respond
is,
to this
don't act
emergency
like
point.
holier than thou.
I want to respond
One
to this
second.
emergency point. If you have the decency to listen to me.
Decency. I have enough decency. Don't cross the line with me.
The excesses of the emergencies were wrong. The Congress leadership has apologized for it. But I want to make the point that the emergency was declared in a constitutional manner after the opposition asked for the armed forces to mutiny. Any government that wants to adhere to protecting the sovereignty and integrity of India, including this BJP government.
That entire spin that you just gave has been rubbished by people who were there during emergency.
No.
Don't take any garb under this.
You are very mistaken.
You can agree to disagree, but I don't think that the manner or the reasoning for the emergency can be justified.
Why are we discussing the emergency today? Why are we not discussing the undeclared emergency that the BJP has imposed in the last 10 years?
You've been discussing it.
No,
Has it not been enough?
I want to discuss it right now.
What right now? You've been discussing it for the last 10 years. It's not enough.
No, I want to discuss it right now.
Yes, so you had your time. You defended the fact that the emergency was done in a constitutional manner. You used your time for that. I want to go across to Tom Varakan.
Excesses were wrong.
You know, Tom, the problem is, Pushparaj, that you can defend everything that the Congress has done. You can defend the fact that it changed the preamble when there was no need for it during an emergency. You can even defend the need for an emergency and the strictures involved in imposing it. But none of that answers the question that I asked you. If the Congress has always upheld both the spirit and the letter of the Constitution, and there is reams of page that will say that no, you didn't. Just the very fact that secular and socialism was inserted during an emergency in the preamble is that episode. Don't justify it. But I want to go across to Tom Varakan to ask, the BJP invoking again and again this whole emergency thing, do you think even that works? The emergency, of course, it's an important aspect of our polity and our history. It happened, 40, 50 years ago. That is not what the BJP should be telling the public. The BJP should be telling the public what it intends to do in its term.
Shivani, the fact of the matter is, emergency is part of the constitutional history today. It is important that this chapter is opened up so that history is not repeated. Let me also put it on record that this Congress party brought out a fake video of the Home Minister saying reservations will be removed. This is the kind of campaign that they ran. When it was fact-checked, it was found to be dubious, and the Home Minister himself gave a statement that he has not said something like that, and this was part of their campaign. So to put all the facts across, the BJP's position, the constitutional position, it is to be there, it will reach out to the people of India. Don't we respect our constitution? This is a step that has been taken to reach out to every citizen of India, that he knows what the constitution stands for, so that they come and understand this misguided elements who talk about protecting the constitution are damaging the constitution. They have done it and they'll do it again. That's the worry.
Well, clearly the constitution is getting trapped in the party politics as well. But I'll give the final word to Suman C. Raman. Suman, we were talking about what are the discussions that we truly need to have as a mature country, that is building up to 100 years of its independence on the constitution. Now, would you not concede that there is a duplicity when it comes to picking and choosing what we want to hail about the Indian constitution? For example, the Congress and the opposition bloc gets very nervous about UCC, but UCC is a directive principle. Why don't they also then accept that yes, we need to do something to build towards it?
No, I don't think anybody is getting nervous about UCC. It's only about what the BJP means by UCC where there is a problem. For instance, multiple times it has been suggested that as long as there can be a consensus between leaders of all communities, there is no problem with the UCC.
You don't think
And
that's
what
used
attempt-
as a tactic
what-
to never
what
make it a
attempt-
reality?
No, why? You believe there need not be a consensus between communities?
Can there be 100% consensus in a
Of course there
democracy
can
as
be.
large as
Of course there can
ours?
be. Once you put religious heads and leaders and senior representatives of communities, form a committee, give them 6 months to a year to come up with a framework. Everybody knows it can be done.
So,
that's not the point.
are you
That is
saying,
not going to
Suman, that
get
if
you
that
votes.
was done,
That
if
is
a
not-
committee with all
that
religious
is
heads
not-
for 6 months sat down, came out with its recommendations, had deliberations,
Absolutely.
then it will be
Debated in
acceptable
Parliament.
by all?
Debated in Parliament.
Yeah.
See, why are we not making an attempt for that? Because that method does not fetch votes. The UCC that we talk about, at least as far as the ruling party talks about, is about putting particular community in their place. It has got nothing to do with genuine interest in having a uniform civil code.
Okay.
So it's very simple. All that needs to be done is to get prominent people, religious heads, put them in a committee, give them a year, come up with a draft, have it debated in Parliament. I'm sure a consensus can come. The only thing
It
that
will
will not
still not
emerge
be
from that is
100%
vote bank.
consensus, is what I'm
won't
saying.
get
There will
votes out
still
of
be
it.
groups across all religions that will be up in arms in some way or the other. My only point was that sometimes consensus is used as a roadblock to make changes that are long due. And
Highway
we've
or the
seen that
highway
play
won't
out
work.
in some cases as well.
Not in
Certainly
India
not my
anymore.
way or the highway either. Absolutely not. In a parliamentary democracy, that's not possible. But I do thank our guests for joining us for our first debate. Suman C. Raman continues with us because we are focusing on Tamil Nadu, which is in the news for all the wrong reasons yet again, with another brutal political murder coming to light. A worker of the Nam Tamilal Kachi was murdered after a group of people in Madurai today morning killed him while he was out on a morning walk. 4 unidentified men surrounded him, chased him before murdering him brutally. And this incident happened close to the house of a state minister, which means that there was adequate security deployed in that area. This is the 4th such political targeting and gang-related attack that has happened in Tamil Nadu in the last 3 weeks and less. D. Pushpanathan, a former councillor of the AIADMK, was murdered by bike-borne assailants on June 29 in Kadalur in Tamil Nadu. He was chased and killed by a gang with machetes, and 11 people have been arrested so far in that probe. Then, of course, the big case that came to light was of K. Armstrong, Tamil Nadu BSP chief, who was killed on July 5 near his house. He was hacked to death again by 6 bike-borne men when he was having a discussion with a few party men. 10 people have been arrested while one of the main accused has been killed in a police encounter. Siva Sankar, a PMK functionary in Tamil Nadu's Kadalur, was then stabbed by bike-borne attackers in front of his house. The attack came even as the news of the BSP Tamil Nadu chief was breaking. 5 people have been arrested for that attack so far. And now, Bala Subramanian is the latest political leader killed. The NTK leader hacked to death while on a morning walk in Madurai. Cops are probing a personal vendetta angle, but no arrests have been made so far. Amid blood politics in Tamil Nadu that is rearing its ugly head, a political war ensued after the main accused in the BSP chief's murder was killed in a police encounter. So this man was a key accused, Thiruvengadam, in BSP chief Armstrong's murder. He was shot dead by the police. He was one of the key accused out of the 11 accused in the case. The police claimed the accused was being taken to retrieve the weapon from a place he was staying in a government vehicle. During the journey, he tried to escape under the disguise of nature's call. The police says he assaulted cops and tried to flee, and that's when an official fired back. The opposition has called the encounter suspicious, saying the accused had already surrendered. Even Congress, which is in alliance with the DMK in power, Karthi Chidambaram questioned the police over the encounter. He said extrajudicial encounter killing is not good policing. This is contract killing in uniform. So the big question we ask is this. There have been 4 hackings, 3 murders, 1 almost fatal attack in a fortnight. Is there no fear of law in Tamil Nadu anymore?
One more political murder has taken place in Tamil Nadu. After Armstrong and the attack on the PMK functionary, now we are seeing that how an NTK leader has been hacked to death. This shows the deteriorating law and order situation in Tamil Nadu.
NCRB data says the law and order in Tamil Nadu improved compared to the preceding 3 years or 4 years of the Edappadi Palaniswamy rule. Also, Tamil Nadu's law and order is much, much better than all the BJP rule, any of the BJP rule states, right? That's what the data also says.
The DMK's defense has been that our state has, or Tamil Nadu is doing better than BJP ruled state. But is that enough solace for people in Tamil Nadu? Let's take that to our guest joining us. YG Madhuvanti, leader Tamil Nadu BJP is joining us. Dr. P. Pulla Rao, political analyst, backing government action in this case, will be with us in just a bit. And Suman C. Raman is also with us. Let me begin with Madhuvanti ji. The government is saying what it's saying. And in most of the cases, arrests have been made, the investigations are carrying on, but yet we have seen another political hacking take place just today. What are your views on the law and order situation in Tamil Nadu, and where do you think the policing is going wrong?
Good evening to you and to my fellow panelists here. I don't see any law and order. There is no view on law and order. I'm worried about the state of law and order in Tamil Nadu because in a fortnight, we have seen 3 hackings and 1 person fighting for life. If arrests have been made and if law and order has been brought into an iron arms grip, as how the DMK claim, then why is it that hackings are continuously happening? And not, 1 in 3 months or 1 in 4 months. In a fortnight, we have seen 3 leaders being brutally killed.
No, so what has changed according to you? Why is this suddenly happening in Tamil Nadu? Because normally this is not what Tamil Nadu makes news for.
Exactly where I'm coming to. Tamil Nadu has always been a state that has been spoken very highly about when it comes to law and order. I think all of us are aware of the Tamil Nadu police being extremely, extremely strong when it comes to enforcing law and order. So what is going on? Are the police's hands tied? Or is the chief minister not aware of what's going on because law and order comes directly under his jurisdiction? What is going on? How is it that this Gunda Raj in 15 days, whether it is between them, between groups hacking each other, I am not going on to all that, ma'am. I am not questioning the motives behind these deaths or these killings. I am questioning murders happening in broad daylight in public. This morning's murder happened somewhere close to the residence of a minister in DMK. Are you telling me that is all there is security available? If this is the state of affairs near a minister's house, then what is the state of security for someone like a common man in Tamil Nadu, ma'am? Are we even going to be able to walk peacefully? Is somebody going to be able to take a morning walk peacefully hereafter? I don't understand. In 15 days, you have 3 people being brutally murdered in and around very civil circumstances. And domestic areas.
Yeah, it's not like they've happened in far-flung areas or away from civilization. These are people who were standing in some cases outside their homes or were out for morning walks. Dr. Pulla Rao is also with us. This is raising serious questions about the government's focus being on all the political things rather than what is actually affecting law and order in the state. What justifies the fact that there have been 4 attempted killings, 3 of which have resulted in murders in less than 20 days?
Well, if you want me to just reply with regard to Tamil Nadu, I can give you a reply. But what I always say, and I say today, I heard that respected lady speak, there should be an algorithm for the entire country. There should be a yardstick. What is happening in other states? I am not going into what about it is happening there and all that. Any death anywhere should be condemned. There is no second opinion. Law and order is not a single isolated instance for a state. The entire country, we are seeing a breakdown of law and order, entire country. Whether it's only Tamil Nadu, as our friend said.
What makes you say that? What makes you say that there is a breakdown of law and order in the entire country?
I see. I would say definitely our policing should be improved. For example, take Hathras. 150 people were snuffed out in 2 minutes because there was no police there in Uttar Pradesh. Is that not a breakdown of law and order? Yes, any murder that happens anywhere, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Uttar Pradesh, Bombay, anywhere is bad. Punjab, it happens, it's very bad. I believe that entire country is going through the spasm of violence.
But we were told
It's a
by
very bad
DMK
phase.
and DMK government that, you know, what happens in the rest of the country is not the norm in Tamil Nadu. So I'm not sure if that is suddenly an excuse. But let me come back to the subject. Mr. Dr. Pullarao, I have given you time to what? No, 1 second, sir. With due respect, I did give you time to do whataboutery. But I don't think this is sufficing what we're discussing today. Are you not yourself worried that regardless of their background or their character sketch, 4 people have been attacked with knives or machetes in civil areas in Tamil Nadu? Is that not a cause of concern?
Well, you know, it is amazing to me that you reduce this to whataboutery. It is not whataboutery.
I am reducing it to whataboutery.
By the same yardstick. No, you are. Because I have said this is a malaise all over the country. You look at it. Take a particular view.
I don't know any other state's example where 4 hackings have taken place in 20 days. I'm sorry. If you're drawing a parallel, then you need to give examples.
No parallel. Every murder is condemnable. And as I said in one of your shows or your channel shows earlier, there is something, you know, it's very difficult for the police anywhere in the country, to anticipate a particular murder or killing when the criminal elements are doing it. Now, how do you
That's a
explain
great
to
defense.
Me that
By that logic, we shouldn't expect any crime to be curbed at all. Dr. Pullarao, you're kind of making an excuse for crime and criminals itself. But okay, I'll attempt it one more time. I'll attempt it one more time, then I have to go to Suman.
I never said that.
No, you are say that it's very difficult to control criminals if they want to commit murders. That means we should not expect police to control murders at all. But in any case, my question to you one more time before I go to Suman.
That is your logic. That is your logic.
I'm only repeating your logic back to you. Maybe it sounds a little incredulous when I repeated it back to you. And you heard yourself. But 1 second. Dr. Pullarao, don't you think from the Hooch tragedy where the government was caught napping to now these 4 hackings, out of which 3 were murders and 1 was an attempted murder, the government seems to be, you know, concerned with everything else and all other states, but for what is happening right under its nose. What assurances do you think the government could have given to the citizens of Tamil Nadu?
The government should give citizens of Tamil Nadu that there will be more police forces increased, just as everywhere it is needed. And I'm sure they're doing it. The Chief Minister, if I read him correctly, he has condemned the last killing. It was not that he designed it, it happened. He condemned it. The judicial inquiry, I think, may be ordered, has been ordered. Truth will come out. How these criminals are killing each other, whether there is a hand at the lower level of police, it will all come out. We should wait for the report.
Okay.
Violence is to be condemned, whether it's in Tamil Nadu or in Uttar Pradesh.
Yeah, see, when these cases come to light from other states, they are debated, they are discussed. And those states have been condemned, not just today or for the last few years, but some of them have been condemned, maybe rightfully so, for decades as states that have poor law and order. Tamil Nadu was not one of those states, which is why maybe these cases are coming to limelight. Ma'am, I will just come back to you. Sumat, my question to you is this. How is the state law and order situation looking? You have had this Hooch tragedy. You've got these political hackings taking place. It almost seems like gangs have no fear of the police anymore. They're just doing what they're doing, even if these are revenge killings. And then you had that encounter that the opposition has also termed as suspicious. This is not painting a very good picture. Let's admit that.
Look, law and order is in a crisis in Tamil Nadu, and I think it is ridiculous to compare the situation with other states. I think what we should be comparing is how things were in Tamil Nadu earlier and how they are now. And it is, I mean, I find it bizarre to say that, you know, it's happening in Uttar Pradesh or it's happening in Bihar. Now, that doesn't solve the problem here. Now, there are 2 issues here. One, there are these killings which are happening, which are targeted killings by gangs, mostly hired gangs, who go around and hack people to death. Now, the point is, the government so far has juggled around a few police officers, you know, has made a few transfers and so on. But beyond that, there's not been anything to reassure the public. There are 2 or 3 issues here. There is an encounter killing which happens of one of those who allegedly killed the state former
the BSP leader.
BSP
Yes.
president, right? Now, that again has raised a lot of queries. In fact, the leader of the opposition has alleged virtually that that encounter needs to be investigated. So there is a problem. Tamil Nadu has a tradition for police excesses. 478 people have died in custody between 2016 and 2022. That number has gone up even more now. Almost every week there is a custodial death. So on the one hand, you have crime going on unabated. And actually, we had the former police commissioner of Chennai quoting statistics and saying, you know what, compared to last year we had 63 murders up to date, up to July or June end or whatever. But this year we had only 58 murders. I mean, that is the level of, that is where we are. So I think that there is a serious issue with the intelligence.
So what is the problem, Suman? Why do you think there's been this deterioration, and do you find this a deterioration that has taken place in a short period of time?
No, I think, see, Tamil Nadu, there is one traditional theory that whenever the AIADMK is in power, law and order is a little better. Whenever the DMK comes to power, there is a little bit of a lax policing or laxity in the law and order situation in the state. This has been a traditional belief for the past 30-40 years. Now, that seems to be playing out. In fact, one of the reasons that the DMK lost so badly in 2011, after which they couldn't come to power for 10 years, was this issue of rowdyism.
Where
somebody would just go over and take over your land. You can't do anything. The police will not register a complaint. So all these kind of issues was what led to the DMK being out of power for 10 years. Now what people are saying is the images from 2006 to 2011 are coming back.
Okay.
That is the problem.
Ms. Madhuvanti, you wanted to come in.
No, I just wanted to add on. In a while, for a while I've been listening to both my co-panelists speak, and all I wanted to say is, yes, Uttar Pradesh for many years has had a huge law and order problem. We're all aware of this. But of late, things are getting cleaned up in Uttar Pradesh. All of us are aware of this as well. When the Hathras happened, it was a stampede. It was not 5 people going in broad daylight and killing each other. And the case has been handed over to the CBI. Now, we have been, from the BJP, asking, ever since Mr. Armstrong has been murdered, our state president has been asking, why are you not handing over the case to the CBI? I think the BSP chief, Mayawati ji, came to Chennai and asked the same question when she came to pay her respects to Mr. Armstrong. You just hand it over to a neutral group. Why? You don't have a problem if that
they
is
don't
done,
find
no
the CBI neutral. That was their response.
I see. So then what is neutral according to them? I really want to know. This 15-day killing, every other day, 5 people coming and hacking people to death in very civil domestic areas where the environment is supposed to be decent. I mean, this morning's death, for example, where did it happen? Where did it occur? Did it occur, like you rightly said, ma'am, in some faraway place? It happened in the middle of the city, center of the city, in a very prime, posh locality. Now, then what is the neutrality here?
No, I can only wonder what the citizens in Tamil Nadu are feeling, because this is now not restricted to any one city. This is happening across many big cities in Tamil Nadu. Mr. Pullarao,
I have the question I'm asking.
No, absolutely. That question is arising because it's not 1 or 2 killings now. It's 4 killings or 4 attempts. Mr. Pullarao, I have 30 seconds left. So just a serious question about the fact that it is, at the end of the day, the reputation of the current Chief Minister and the responsibility of the current government to be responsible for this. You cannot, shirk that responsibility beyond a certain point. Law and order is a state subject. If you were proud of it and if you were, tom-tomming it at one point of time, then you've also got to take some corrective measures when it is declining. Very quickly, sir.
Absolutely. I agree with what the panelists said, what you said. Violence is to be condemned, and this is in the interest of the Tamil Nadu government to remove all these doubts. I am sure they will. They have got a very seasoned bureaucracy, one of the best bureaucracies. I am sure they will rise to the occasion. address these concerns which all citizens demand. There are no two opinions. If violence and law is there, bad, as Mr. Raman has said, they'll face political consequences. I'm sure they'll take corrective steps.
Okay.
The bureaucracy there is resilient. And I'm sure that whatever concerns are addressed, they will take it. And as you rightly said, the CBI is not in flavor, is not the favor with all these non-BJP governments. So they have a good excuse for that. Therefore, we hope, and I'm sure, these issues will be addressed as they should be.
Has the government done enough to address it so far? Before, it piles up and rises up right at their neck level is the question that actually goes to them. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Time for a very short break. On the other side, we'll get to the big international story. Donald Trump was at the RNC. He has announced his sweep pick, and it's JD Vance with an India Connect. We'll get you more in just a bit.
Do you know what
to review all security measures for the Republican National Convention, which is scheduled to start tomorrow. And third, I've directed an independent review of the national security at yesterday's rally to assess exactly what happened. And we'll share the results of that independent review with the American people as well. And finally, I'll be speaking more about this tonight at greater length from the Oval Office. We must unite as one nation. We must unite as one nation to demonstrate who we are. And so may God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, when you spoke to President Trump yesterday, what did you tell him and what did he tell you, sir? Mr. President, shifting your campaign strategy, Mr. President, do you regret?
And that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
Trump's running mate, JD Vance, wasn't always a MAGA advocate. Back in 2016, Vance was an outspoken critic of then-candidate Trump.
There is definitely an element of Donald Trump's support that has its basis in racism or xenophobia. I know who I'm going to vote for. I'm definitely not going to vote for Trump because I think that he's projecting very complex problems onto simple villains.
But Vance predicted a Trump loss.
But I've noticed this willingness from people who think a lot like I do that, look, we told you so. To all these white working class voters, we told you so. We told you that Trump was going to be a terrible candidate. We told you that you were an idiot if you voted for him.
And in now deleted tweets, JD Vance called Trump reprehensible. Fellow Christians, everyone is watching us when we apologize for this man. Lord help us, Vance wrote. Privately, Vance was even more critical, messaging a friend that Trump could be, quote, America's Hitler. But fast forward a few years later, when Vance ran for Senate in Ohio as a Republican. That's when he unveiled a new persona, Trump defender.
Are we having a good time? Is it great to have the president back in Ohio?
I did change my mind about Donald Trump. He was a great president. He's been the greatest president of my lifetime.
I have absolutely got to thank the 45th, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, they wanted to write a story that this campaign would be the death of Donald Trump's America First agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, it ain't the death of the America First agenda.
Vance's MAGA pivot resulted in him winning a seat in the Senate.
And we won big.
And now a place alongside Donald Trump on the 2024 Republican ticket.
Co-powered by
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the need for us to lower the temperature in our politics. And to remember, while we may disagree, we are not enemies. We're neighbors, we're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. We must stand together. Yesterday's shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania calls on all of us to take a step back, take stock of where we are, how we go forward from here. Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victims who was killed. Corey was a husband, a father, a volunteer firefighter, a hero, sheltering his family from those bullets. We should all hold his family and all those injured in our prayers. Earlier today, I spoke about an ongoing investigation. We do not know the motive of the shooter yet. We don't know his opinions or affiliations. We don't know whether he had help or support or if he communicated with anyone else. Law enforcement professionals, as I speak, are investigating those questions. There is no place in America for this kind of violence or for any violence ever. Period. No exceptions. We can't allow this violence to be normalized. You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that. Yes, we have deeply felt strong disagreements. The stakes in this election are enormously high. Disagreement is inevitable in American democracy. It's part of human nature. But politics must never be a literal battlefield, or God forbid, a killing field. I believe politics ought.
This is CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio.
Viewers, let's begin with an important caveat. This is not an argument advancing the need for president or central rule for Jammu and Kashmir in perpetuity. The status quo, where the citizens of the state don't get to elect a government that is accountable to them, is not, after all, tenable. The fact is not lost even